Okay, hello everyone. How are you doing this morning? Yes, it is morning and I am not awake, but it has been a very busy week for me. I'm just going to say this. If you got people in your life and you want to make them anarchists, well, there's a few things you can do. You can send them to my videos and the videos of other ANCAP YouTubers. You can show them Spooner or Rothbard or whoever. Or you could just take them down to a meeting of your local zoning board. Yeah, that's been my life. Yeah, a bunch of people who are absolutely useless trying to make themselves feel important. That's what it's all about. Maybe I'll give you details at some point, but not too many because of privacy. But oh, geez, yeah. Not only with our stuff, which was bad enough, but Amy, you asked for something simple, and it's like, geez. All right, so anyway, yes, that is time. Yes, I am late. It is the 6th as I make this. I wanted I always want to get the answers to the Patreon questions up by now. Remember, if you're a $3 a month patron, then you get to ask me anything. If you're a $5 patron, you also get to ask me for a shout out. And we have our first one here. And this is from, I'm pretty sure that's Thomas Urbanski. Can't be too many people that spell their first name that way, or maybe in his country there are, I don't know. But he's posting under Xaon, or Xaon, or whatever. So he's given me a second name to mispronounce, which is all right. But, I mean, he's been a great supporter all this time. You've heard me answer a bunch of his questions. And so he is asking for a shout out to Dave Silverman's FirebrandForGood channel. And I haven't really checked this out, but Dave Silverman, I'm not that familiar with him, but he used to be, at least, president of American Atheists, I think. He was the one who was on the O'Reilly show when O'Reilly said that thing about, tide goes in, tide comes out, never miscommunication, and therefore God exists or something. I don't know. Basically proving that he didn't know how tides happened. So, but yeah, so this is it. I'll put a link to it there. Firebrand for Good. Looks like a fairly new one. Stuff being put up in the last year. Didn't really have a chance to watch much. I caught a few minutes of this feminine discussion with Paul Sheehan just to kind of see what kind of take they were going. And I kind of sped through it a little bit. And somewhere, like in the first third of it, they were talking about something that really made me punch the air, because they were talking about the Google algorithms and how they were racist because they had trouble identifying black people. And this guy was saying exactly what I've been saying, which is that you have to learn how optics works. Because when you take a picture of a black person, and especially if you're trying to do a professional portrait or you're shooting someone for a film or whatever, you have to be really careful about how you light them. You can't light them the same way you do a white person. The reason why is all their skin tones are going to be in the darker range. Whereas with a white person, you can set it up where you've got a good amount of shadows, next to the nose, under the eyes, and you can bring out depth and information like that. You can get that with a black person, but it's down in those that darker color range, and the digital sensors that we have aren't really good at picking up details in the darker ranges. So, I mean, unless you have an HDR camera, which would, but the stuff they're working with just doesn't really work well in those dark ranges, and so you have less contrast there, and it's more noisy, and it's really difficult for computers to pick out details there. And also just the fact that computers don't see things the way we do. I've shown this example before, but there was a picture of a panda, and the computer recognizes it as a panda, and then they took some noise, and it was noise that was specially crafted for this, but you overlay the noise over the panda, and you still see, okay, that's a panda. The picture's a little bit noisier, but it's still a panda. And the computer thinks it's a gibbon. Now, just because of the noise. So I kind of like that. And maybe check out this one I'm back video. Yeah, that might be good because that looks like that's short, and we'll see what this is all about here. But what I've seen so far I like, and so thanks for the shout out, Thomas. everyone can go and check out another channel. Now, he sent this to me as a message on Subscribestar, which is fine, except that, I don't know, for some reason, Patreon and Subscribestar don't really notify you when there's a message. You'd think that would be a big thing. You'd think they'd go, bing, hey, you got a new message. Nope, you're just kind of left to go check it manually. So this is probably not the best way to do a shout out. So at least for the time being, until I think of something better, for a shout out, just put it in the same comments along with the AMAs. And if anyone has any better ideas for that, just let me know. So, all right, moving forward a bit. Over to Subscribestar, same guy, Thomas again. So he did both. He got to ask a $5 and a $3 question. $5 shout out, $3 question. That should be worth $8, but you only have to spend $5 for that, because I include the $3 and the $5 because I'm nice that way. So, and he's the only one who asked one on Subscribestar, and he says, some YouTubers do re-uploads or compilations of old videos. I really like your atheism and libertarianism series, thank you. But I also see other great series that simply won't pop up until one opens your channel page. Would you consider a compilation or re-upload of any of your stuff? Yeah, sure, and there's stuff going back 10 or I guess now closer to 15 years that might not be that dated and might still be worthwhile. And, especially a lot of the stuff I was doing when I was, recovering from the accident, and I couldn't really, stand in front of a camera all that easily and type into it. So if there's anything like that, just let me know and I'll consider it. Yeah, I'm redoing some of the old ones in the more modern format and getting that information out to more people. So yes, let's please see if we can do that. All right, so now we are over here on Patreon. 3 more questions over here. Sean Pierre asks, what would be your opinion on an immigration amnesty bill in the U.S. Congress? And it sounds like he's just kind of talking in the abstract, not about a particular bill. I'm not aware of any particular bills that are going through anyway. But just in general, my feeling is, if amnesty stops them from aggressing against peaceful people, then it's good, but it's the wrong solution for the wrong problem. It's a bit like, my car is broken down and we're trying to, push the car along. And okay, so the solution is to have different people push the car or something like that. You're not really solving the problem. So we need to solve this problem with a sane immigration policy. And I'm sorry, I don't care which side of it you're on, whether you're open borders or whether you think immigration should be restricted. Even if you are on the restrict immigration side, come on. Our immigration set, take a look at it. It is absolutely crazy what they make people go through to get into this country. And what does it do? I pointed this out before. If you're a Mexican migrant farmer, in order to go through all of the paperwork and all the bureaucracy to come to this country legally will take you something like 135 years. So why are they coming here illegally? Gee, let me think. Whereas if I think it was a computer programmer for India with a PhD, that would take 5 years. Just crazy stuff. And people always go, well, my grandpa came over here and he did it right. He filled out, well, all he had to do was fill out a couple of forms and maybe sit in a place for a couple of days to make sure, he wasn't bringing anything in, quick medical screening. And then he was in. There's nothing compared to what they make people do today. Most of it was actually Cold War stuff. They didn't want commies coming. Look on the form. It actually still asks, are you now or have you ever been a member of the communist or other totalitarian party? Which I guess rules you out if you're a Democrat or a Republican, but hey, no, they're American parties, so I guess they're okay. But yeah, that's what that's all from. It's all from the Cold War fears. The Cold War is gone, but all the crap still lingers. So. All right, Wesley Savage. I wish to ask a question. My question is, what would you say if you were shown that some algae researchers could turn algae into petroleum? Well, I'd say cool, and I believe he's brought this up in the live streams. And I think as far as energy is concerned, because you guys know how gung-ho I am about nuclear. I think nuclear is really the solution we've been looking for, and it's been there the whole time for half a century. Let's just do it, people. It's safe, it's cheap, it's carbon-free. We could give it to the world. Why not? So, but algae being turned into petroleum, I mean, we wouldn't have to worry about petroleum if we were only driving electric cars. You know, if we all got like Teslas and we just recharge from our home, and if that's kind of like indirectly your car being nuclear powered, right? Because you have the nuclear reactor charging the batteries. But even if we did all that, petroleum is used to make plastics. And, oh my God, how different would our civilization be without plastic? All the amazing, wonderful things that plastic does for us. You know, not just for making things like computers, but also how much of a healthcare system would we have without plastic? We've got all of these plastic things that are used that can be made sterile, and they're cheap enough to only be used once and thrown away and things like that. So just think of all of the things they're doing with plastics. Plastics made from petroleum, so got to get that from somewhere. So yeah, algae into petroleum. Sounds cool. Yeah. All right, Josh Havins. When I was growing up, I would always hear my teachers and daycare workers say things like, Johnny misused X, so now Johnny has ruined it for everyone. Yep. Raise your hand if you've done that. Yep, get those hands up. You all know it. You all have. In the modern day, I hear it in relation to gun control. Where does this idea come from? Is it a legitimate excuse for anything? It sounds like communist nonsense to me. Yeah, there's no legitimacy to it at all. It's collectivism. That's really it. So Johnny did something wrong. Instead of punishing Johnny and saying, hey, listen, we're all individually responsible for our own actions and no one else's, you know, they try to make it I honestly don't even know what their reasoning is behind this, and I use reasoning very loosely. Because, I mean, the idea is to kind of make everyone else shame Johnny and get Johnny to behave by shaming. All it really does is make everyone else think that the teacher's a jerk. Because, like, oh, Johnny did something wrong, punish Johnny. You know, don't punish the rest of us. That's just crazy. So, yeah, and you're talking about it with gun control. Where we see this a lot is with tax evasion, because there are people who have done that. I believe this is what Irving Schiff did. He kind of did things knowing that it would get him to court because he wanted to be able to make his arguments in front of a jury. And his arguments were things like, you know, none of us should have to pay taxes. Taxation is theft. You know, none of us should have to do this. And what they told the jury, and what they always tell the jury in these taxation cases, is stuff like, well, why should he have to get away with not being able to pay taxes when the rest of you have to? You know, exactly the opposite of it. The justice of taxation actually never gets a look in. You know, it's all about, well, you have to do it. Why shouldn't he? Why should he be an exception? When, of course, he was saying he shouldn't be an exception. No one should have to pay taxes. But trying to get that tested in court, and this is what you run into. And it's this exact same thing, you know, with them basically shaming the jurors to the point that, and I mean, think about what's going to happen in the jury room after that. Oh, this is something. Really start looking into this. This will outrage you. A lot of the stuff the prosecutors and the judges say to juries, it really seems designed specifically to stop that kind of 12 Angry Men thing. You know, because in 12 Angry Men, they're all voting guilty except for Henry Fonda. And Henry Fonda says, well, you know, wait a minute, I'm not sure. Let's just talk about it. And they talk it over and the movie happens. They don't want that. They don't want that. They want you going with it. And I mean, a lot of the stuff is designed to really encourage the jurors in the jury room to shame the Henry Fondas. And there have been jurors who have actually reported that. You know, they felt like they were the only one, and they just wanted to discuss things, but they really just felt like they were, you know, shamed and bullied into, you know, trying to change their vote. And some of them cave and some of them stuck to their guns and makes it a hung jury. But it's the same kind of thing, and it's just horrible. But that's the cult of statism. That's what you get with the cult mindset. You are not responsible for your own actions. You are responsible for everyone's. Johnny misbehaves, you get punished. And that's how it is. Goes against every single principle this country was founded on, but that's how it is. So, thank you so very much. If you'd like to ask questions for next month, then check the links down below. I'll get those down there. And yes, I promise I will be more awake for the next video I do. I just wanted to go ahead and get this out. And so hopefully I've answered these to everyone's satisfaction. So thanks everyone who asked questions. Thanks everyone who donated. If you'd like to donate, go to donate.bogosity.tv. There you can get the links to Patreon and Subscribestar. Remember, it's $3 a month to ask me a question, or $5 for a shout out. And you can also do other things like early videos, ad-free, things like that. Or you can just do a one-time donation through PayPal or cryptocurrency. If you don't even have that much, even you can just give a few pennies with cryptocurrency. That's fine. Anything you can do. Also, always remember, smash subscribe, like, and the bell. And share the video. That really helps more than anything else. Please stay tuned. Look at all the videos I've got coming up. I really hope you'll enjoy them. Until then, stay strong and be free.